Town Council. Just to remind everybody of the Town Council meeting formalities. Just to remind attendees that it is a formal meeting, and I can advise that members of the public will be given an opportunity to speak during public open session, but not at other times. The meeting is being filmed, and by being present, attendees are deemed to have agreed to be filmed and to the use of those images and sound recordings. I can advise that attendees should not disclose any personal information of individuals, as this would infringe the data protection rights of that individual. And can I please ask that everyone to mute their microphones when not speaking? Thank you very much. First item on the agenda, apologies for absence. I've got apologies from Councillor Strawn, Councillor Skilton, Councillor Jones, Councillor Gilshire, and I think Councillor Sajid, you can only do part of the meeting, is that correct? Or okay, that's fine. The exam, yeah. Okay, I think Councillor Jones is joining online as well, so just to bear that in mind, Asia. Okay. Okay, item number 2, declarations of interest. Are there any disclosable pecuniary interests in the agenda? No. Okay. Any non-pecuniary interests on the agenda for anyone this evening? Nope. Okay. Thank you. Item number 3, Town Mayor's announcements. Now I found my notes again. I can update everybody. I've got a couple of things really. It's been a busy start, I guess, to the civic year. And in the past sort of couple of weeks, I've attended not in a physical capacity, but more cheering people on, the Jones 5K run, which is great to see in the town centre. Growing event, I think now, supported by Jones Fitness and Cafe. And that was on the 25th of May. I attended a briefing last week with the Lord Lieutenant and High Sheriff for all new mayors and chairs of councils. And that was an update, a very useful update on the activities of both the High Sheriff and the Lord Lieutenant and all her deputies, and the kind of things they're interested in, how to promote the county, how to promote our area, that kind of thing. So very useful meeting. I attended the Biggleswade Good Neighbours AGM last Saturday as well, which is great to spend a bit of time with the volunteers there at Northfields Community Centre. And they were going to have a barbecue, but the weather kind of kiboshed that. But so we had a buffet inside, so that was quite nice to sort of spend time with them. And then I went to a duck race last Sunday, and it was good to see a number of other town councillors there as well. And in particular, I want to thank the town council staff who assisted with the duck race. I realise it's not a town council event, but it is supported by the town council. I just want to get on record a thank you for all those that sort of stayed out of hours and on the weekend to make that work and be a really successful event as well. And then finally, literally just this evening, about half an hour ago, I was with the 3rd Biggleswade Brownies talking to them about the environment and their eco badge as well. So I was a special invite this evening to go along to them. So that was nice to spend time with one of our many voluntary and community groups in the town as well. So so that was been a busy period. And then the other announcement I wanted to make was the mention of the Mayor's charities for this year. The first one, I'm going to have 2, and the first one will be Biggleswade Good Neighbours, and I'm pleased to support them, having heard about the the kind of the 28% increase in demand, for example, they had on last year, and the sort of continuing demand that I think is put on their services and kind of voluntary capacity. So I'll be happy to support Biggleswade Good Neighbours going forward. And also the other one being Magpass Air Ambulance as well. And many of you know that the air ambulance services are not publicly funded in the UK. They're still run on charitable donations. So hopefully throughout the year we can run a number of events that support both those charities that support people locally in different ways. So hope you can all join me in that one. Okay, number 4, moving on, public open session. Don't think we've got anyone hiding here. So is anyone online, Asia? No? Okay, nobody online. So I will now pass over to our invited speaker, Julie Balam, is that right? Balaam, sorry, Balaam. Julie Balaam, sorry, apologies. Who, for those that don't know, is the Biggleswade community agent, part of which her role is funded by the town council. So I will give you the floor, Julie, and you can update us on what you've been doing. Yes, please. Yeah, if you would. Thank you.
Super. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for inviting me here tonight to give you an update on the work I do as the Biggleswade Community Agent, which, as I'm sure you're aware, is a role that's funded by the Town Council and delivered in partnership with Bedfordshire Rural Communities Charity. So I've circulated a short paper that sets out a summary of the support provided over the last 2 financial years. So it's quite a sort of lengthy update. I haven't reported to Council since December 2023. Over that time, the demand for the service has continued to remain high. So we saw quite a considerable increase in new clients and ongoing support for continuing clients in the financial year 2022 to 23, and it's continued to remain at a high level. The client base has broadened to include a greater proportion of working age clients. Typically, those reflect people perhaps with a range of physical and or health conditions, adults with learning disabilities, and families with children with additional needs as well, who've needed extra support to access benefits and services. So we've seen a greater proportion of my time going to support that type of clients. So typically around 40% of my clients are what we would consider sort of working age. Support for clients over 65 remains a core part of the work that the community agent role provides. And again, support focuses on helping those clients to access benefits, both health-related benefits and means-tested benefits. There's been a number of external factors over the last 12 months in particular that have meant that the demand for means-tested benefits for older people has increased. Also, often support for older people is around access to blue badges, disabled and elder persons, bus and rail cards, and also care-related issues. So everything from referrals into adult social care for care needs assessments to helping with financial assessment forms for those with ongoing care provided by Central Bedfordshire Council. Across both of those demographics, there's been a significant increase in the demand for food bank referrals and also supermarket vouchers through the Household Support Fund that's operated by Central Bedfordshire Council. I think that broadly reflects the ongoing impact of the cost of living crisis, but there's been a significant increase in demand for support from food banks and the supermarket scheme across my work here in Biggleswade, but across the wider agent role that Beds RCC operates across both Central Bedfordshire and Bedford Borough. So it's a county-wide and I'm sure nationwide trend. To give an example of some of the sort of client support that I offer, I've included 2 case studies in the paper, so I can give a short summary of those now. Client A is a family with a single parent household with 2 disabled children who I've been supporting for nearly 2.5 years now. The family were referred to me by their social worker, and my support is not continuous. That's not the nature of my role. I go in to help people access specific benefits and services, but due to the complex nature of needs in this family, they have a need for sort of periodic ongoing support. They engage with services really well, and I work alongside a number of other services, including children's services, adult social care, carers in Bedfordshire, Good Neighbours scheme. There's quite a range of different agencies supporting this family in a really positive way. So over that period of time, I've helped the family access universal credit, housing support, personal independence payment, carers support with all number of different just paperwork that they find difficult to manage themselves. For example, one member of the household was called for jury service, which was not appropriate for them to do, and they weren't able to respond to that online confidently to explain why they couldn't do that. So I was able to support them with that. It's a really beneficial use of the community agent time because of the value added from me being able to support the family over an extended period of time. Sometimes I don't hear from them for 6 months, and that's fine, but then they might have a concentrated need when lots of things come up all at once. And because I can keep going back to them to provide that support when they need it, they've got a continuity of support. That means every time they need help, they don't have to start again and explain their situation to a new professional worker, a new support worker. And I know that makes a huge difference to them, and it just makes it easier for them to access the support they need. Another example is an elderly client who was referred to me by a friend last year for a blue badge application and attendance allowance, which we applied for, and that was successful. I then didn't hear from the client. I closed my support with the client, and that was the end of that intervention. The client came back to me earlier this year just because they wanted help with their green bin renewal with Central Bedfordshire. They couldn't quite get it to work online. So I went round and did that, and I was just about to leave when the client said, oh, actually, I'm not sure what to do. I've just received another notice from the letting agent that my rent's going to increase again, and I'm quite worried about this. So I had a look at the letter. And on the back of that, him just raising it as I was almost going out of the door, I did a benefits check for that person, and it became apparent they were entitled to a considerable amount of extra housing benefit and pension credit, which gateways other benefits, as I'm sure you're aware. And with some work and support alongside the letting agent, we've actually been able to get backdated housing benefit for that person because they hadn't been notifying Central Beds of their rental increases for some years, and Central Beds were happy to backdate the housing benefit owed, so significantly improved the financial circumstances for that client. So it's just an example of how one type of support can lead to another, and the added sort of benefit of being able to go back and support people over again. It's a very rewarding role. It can be challenging at times, particularly as the complexity of the nature of support that I find clients come to me with their needs are increasingly complex. And you may go into support with one small issue and then realise that there are so many other issues and perhaps more pressing issues that a person would benefit from assistance with. So I think it's reflected in the numbers. Although the number of clients remains high, the actual overall number of home visits that I do has gone down slightly because I tend to spend much more time working with clients now, resolving a broader number of issues. And it's a real privilege to be able to provide this support. It helps people maintain their independence. We see sort of tangible outcomes all the time with the work we do as community agents, and we can improve people's circumstances in such a breadth of different ways. I've included some examples of feedback. We do send out feedback forms to our clients. They're not always returned for a whole range of completely legitimate reasons, but I've included some examples there. It's very positive, as it is across our whole service, and it highlights the often unique support that we can offer as community agents with that continuity of support and the flexibility within the scope of the role to assist in so many different ways that a lot of other agencies are not able to do in terms of their perhaps statutory role and limitations of what they can and can't do. So I'd just like to thank you for your continued support and commitment to the role of the community agent here in Biggleswade. I'm very happy to discuss any of this further and take any questions. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Julia. I think on behalf of the council, thanks, for what the work you're doing as well. It's great to see some of the figures and testimonials, and it's really helpful and obviously making a positive difference. So, do colleagues have any questions for Julia at the moment? I think Councillor Russell.
Not a question, but simply to thank her for the very detailed report that was circulated beforehand. Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Thomas.
Yeah, not so much a question as I happened to be speaking to Lloyds Bank today, and I mentioned the fact that the branch was closing, and I said, what help can the council give to people, etc., in the period before it closes, so that when it does close, they've got access. And the lady just said, well, if we can get anybody on online banking, that would help. Yes. And Lloyds, she also said Lloyds give at least, if you go into the branch, if you can get into the branch, you can get an hour's tutorial and they'll sign you up and help you all the way through. And she did an example with me, which was very quick and easy.
Yeah, that's
so if you have any problems like that, because I know the bank is going to close. So
absolutely, and we're
just
down to one bank then, aren't we? And I have actually been asked by one or two clients who are unable to manage online banking to assist them with transferring to another bank, which will be remaining open in Biggleswade. But also, I think alongside my role there, I don't know if you're aware of Beds RCC's You Can Do It service. So I think that's really invaluable in helping people to become more confident in using facilities like online banking, which is becoming so much more important. But I think we have to acknowledge as well that there will continue to be a proportion of people that can't access online banking, and we've got to make sure that we're supporting them as best we can.
Great, thank you. More questions? No? Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, thank you very much, Julie, and we'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening. You're very welcome to stay, of course, but equally, if you need to head out, that's okay. Thank you very much. Okay, moving to item 6 then now. Members' questions? Anybody got? Councillor Patel.
Yeah, not a question as such, just echoing your comments from earlier regarding the duck race on behalf of the Carnival Committee. Thank you to the Town Council and Ian and the team that were there on the day. As you said, it was a huge success, and without the support, it would have been quite difficult. So once again, thank you guys.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm sure we can pass it on to the right team and the right people. That's great. Thank you. Okay, no more members' questions. Great. Okay, number 7 then, minutes and recommendations of meetings. Firstly, the annual assembly on the 29th of April. So, which is page 14. Page 14, if you haven't got that. Okay. Okay, so page 14. Yeah, sorry, Councillor Alban.
Yeah, I'm down as present, but I wasn't actually present at that meeting, but I did present my apologies.
Okay, I think we can get that corrected. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Page 15. Page 16. Page 17. Page 18. I had one tiny correction on page 18. It was a verbatim report from Councillor Fage, and it just refers to Edward Peak, but it's gone E on the end of it rather than just Peak as in Mountain Peak. It's named after a person, so if we just get that corrected with the E. Okay. Page 19. Yep.
Right at the top, Sully Helly Ferguson, the name's Hacking, Hacking. I know it's not easy to pick up, but
no, I got that correction as well, but we'll get that changed in the right name. Are we having problems? Okay. Okay, brilliant. Asia, did you get those 2 corrections on 18 and 19? Okay. Okay, so done page 19, page 20, page 21. Okay. Okay, so we're all happy with those as accurate minutes. Yep, great, thank you. So we'll move on to the 13th of May minutes, the annual statutory meeting, as opposed to the annual assembly. So page 22, page 23, page 24, page 25, page 26, page 27, page 28, page 29, and page 30. Okay, it's all taken as a accurate. Yeah, great, thank you. Okay, so moving on to item 8, so matters arising from the minutes of the annual assembly. So going back to page 14, wasn't it? Yeah, 14 again. Sorry. So page 14, page 15, page 16, page 17, Page 18. Page 19. Page 20. And page 21. Great. Everyone happy with that one? Yep, great, thank you. And then, okay, and then 13th of May annual statutory meeting, so page 22. Page 23. Page 24. Page 25. 26. Sorry, 27. 28. Sorry, Councillor Russell, page 28. Yeah.
I just wonder if the clerks had any more detail about what will happen when Saffron Road is closed for access to Saffron Close and the town council, as well
Okay,
as other
good question.
properties.
Good question.
Yeah, CBC have come back with some information today, but it's not clear and precise yet. So I'm trying to ensure, obviously, that residents can access their properties and we can access the town council. The first response we've got back is effectively, we would encourage you to park elsewhere and nothing more than that. So we are persevering in our conversations with CBC.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Russell. Page 29. Page 30. Okay. Great. Then move it. Okay. Great. Thank you. Right. Item number 9 then. Items for consideration 9A. Call for sites. Do you want to say anything on that, Peter, first, or just? It is what it is, really, I suppose. Just to consider the update about the call for sites. Councillor Russell, sorry.
I think you're right that it is what it is, and we need to note it tonight. But I just wanted to say that I have been on the Central Beds website to have a look and see what the next stages are. I thought it was quite interesting what they laid out as the assessment criteria, and there's standard things that they would look at in a planning application, like proximity to facilities and flood risk and accessibility and impact on the environment. And they'll judge whether each site can be considered suitable. And if it is, it'll go into something that they're calling strategic land availability assessment. So that's all the sites that might have the potential for development. And they say they're aiming to complete this towards the end of the year. So it's obviously a long process before we hear more about what will happen with potential sites in Biggleswade. And they also go to the statutory agencies like National Highways and Natural England for their comments as well on the sites that are going forward. And then when all that's done and the list of sites is considered, there'll be a public consultation at the beginning of next year. And I think that's absolutely vital then, that we look at things in detail. Even at this stage, I might suggest that we'll need at least one working group to go through all the sites and see if we agree with Central Beds, because that's the time to try and stop it going any further. And of course, there will be then a formal consultation later on. And the plan won't be submitted until December 2028. And then it'll go through the examination process. So it is a long process, but I think that we need to be very vigilant about what's going on in the town, given the number of sites that have been put forward. And I want to just mention formally the concern about the 2 sites that have been suggested for a possible health hub, both of which have been put forward for residential development now, which is a blow because we still want that health hub. I do wonder whether Central Beds have still got the 15 million that was allocated towards the building of the health hub. I somehow think perhaps not. And the issue then was the site. and Central Beds now have their own site, which they could put forward. So I think there's some discussions to be had about some of this, because that is the key thing for everybody in the town, access to health provision. So I simply think we have to note it, but we have to be vigilant in future.
Thank you. Peter, do you want to
Just
comment?
one comment, really, an observation. Members will have received a pictorial representation of the call for sites, which is part of the governance review. So obviously that information is incorporated within that conversation. Thanks.
Any other questions on that? I think, go on, Councillor Barrett.
I'd written the same thing down about the health hub as well, around the amount of money that was potentially earmarked. I know it won't lead to anything, but I do wonder again if we could actually just write to them again and ask them what's happened with that money.
Yeah,
just before we get to the call for sites conversation.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Is that a formal proposal, Councillor Barrett? Yep. Okay, great. Thank you. Councillor Foster.
I just wanted to echo Councillor Russell's point in particular, but I think it's absolutely essential that we are all over the detail of this, because I think we found out on the previous iteration that if we were close to it, and there were still things that perhaps were I wouldn't say slipped through, but ended up being on the local plan, and as if the town council supported. And I think we need to be mindful of the fact that we're very clear on our responses to each and every application, so that we're as and when there are sites that perhaps do come through for development, when they're not supported by the council, we're very clear that they weren't supported by us. It's a very comprehensive document, and there are a lot of sites there, and there's some very interesting ones that come through, and some ones that aren't entirely unexpected, but there are also some that are unexpected. I think without going into the detail here, but it's if you haven't had the opportunity to look at the detail, it's very much worthwhile doing, because it's some surprising ones on there.
Peter, go on.
One last observation, because this is obviously so impactful for the town, members may at the right time want to pay consideration to getting perhaps some additional planning advice, similar to what we've called on before, which might be able to make our comments more representative when they go to CBC.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Barrett. Yep.
Just, Chair, just following on from comments made there, I think when we do get to the call for sites, I think it's important that we look at all of the call for sites, not just from a point of view of what ones we don't like the look of. I think we should also think about the positives and the benefits to the town in some of the call for sites as well. And we shouldn't start out thinking that this is one that we wouldn't want and so on. I think we need to take a different approach to it in certain situations.
Okay, no, thank you. I'm conscious you've got to put forward a motion. Is there a seconder for Councillor Barrett's motion as well? Yeah, Councillor Russell. So I think Councillor Russell's point about sort of noting the I guess the email that's in the papers is understood, but I think Councillor Barrett's sort of follow-up motion is quite a valid one about the health hub and the budget for it. So can we have a vote then, please, on writing, I guess, or getting the town clerk to write to Central Beds to follow up where the health hub funding is has gone, or where it's laying at the moment. So all those in favour of, sorry, Councillor Barrett. Okay. Oh yeah, all those in favour of Councillor Barrett's motion about health hub. Okay. Okay, I think that's unanimous. Thank you very much. And then we'll note the call for sites, and I think we'll be coming back to this issue fairly soon anyway, so we can have a further debate then. Thank you. Okay, so 9B, Central Bedfordshire Local Plan Update, sort of a bit connected really, isn't it? So any comments on that? It's obviously the paper receive and consider an update, so thoughts from colleagues on that one? Do just note it for the moment, yeah, and okay, Councillor Russell.
Well, it's interesting to read through some of the comments, but they detail all the comments that people made, and one says one thing, one says the opposite. And it's how they're going to take all that forward. So okay. I don't think there's anything really to
at this stage.
Discuss.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll note it for this stage, and then Again, I think it'll be something we'll be coming back to again fairly soon. So thank you for that. Okay, so 9C, home to school transport consultation. Has anybody got any comments or thoughts on this? I think we've been asked because we're a statutory consultee, isn't it? Even though education obviously sits outside of the town council's remit, but I think it's useful to see this. Councillor Foster?
Yeah, and I think it's quite clear central beds have had a challenge with the school transport fund. It's ongoing for a number of years, and it's increasing rapidly. And the fact that it points to the 36% of the overall budget is to do with educational transport is significant. So it's understandable why there is a need to make some changes. I think it's just understanding for residents, and there was well, not an exhibition, there was essentially a consultation event at the Auto Centre today, exactly in relation to this, in the main hall, as I understand. So, and I think it's important that this is shared as widely as possible. I have to say, I think central beds are going to go down the route of exactly as they plan for funding reasons, and take the view that if you want to send your child for whatever reason to a school that's outside that's not the closest, then there's a price to pay. It's unfortunate, but I think that's the nature of the financial situation the central beds are in currently. It doesn't affect students that are currently receiving school transport. It affects the students as and when they leave their current school and move on to or start a new school. But it's still challenging, particularly if you're in Biggleswade and want to send your child to Sandy or Sheffield or whatever. So it's bearing it in mind is that it does make a big difference.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. So we just note it. Yep. Okay. Great. Okay. A 9D then. Unity Trust Bank and CCLA bank account signatories. I think this is just a refresh of the bank signatures, but I'll let Ernest make a quick comment on that.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be very brief. So during the previous council meeting on 13th of June 2023, it was agreed that there should be sufficient active signatories who will be available to approve the BACS payment on behalf of the council as per the financial regulations. So 2 members have volunteered their name to be added to the signatories of Unity Trust Bank and the CCLA accounts, and the members are the chair of TCM and the mayor. So the recommendation is for members to please approve both members to be added to the signatories of both Unity Trust and CCLA accounts, please. Yeah.
Can I just clarify a point, Peter? Can Councillor Patel vote for this on the basis he's a signatory or not?
That's a good point, actually.
Because I wouldn't normally vote because of being in the chair, but I'm conscious that to Councillor Patel's a signatory, I'm not sure you can vote for so. Okay, so all right. Okay, so all those in favour of the signatory changes.
Point of order.
Go on, sorry.
I think someone needs to propose it and someone needs to second it.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you. Propose the recommendation as set out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry. Yeah, great. Thank you. We now have proposed and second. Okay, so all those in favour of the motion as set out with the signature change. Okay, that's carried anyway. That's great. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Mark. Okay, sorry, yeah. Item 9E, A1 underpass. Bit of a disappointing response, I have to say, but I don't know if you want to say anything, Peter, at all. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know why we want to take this more, any further. Councillor Russell.
Well, again, I think we can just note it. It's not unexpected. It's a typical response by somebody sitting in an office somewhere who knows nothing about the situation and is just trying to fob us off. But we are having another meeting next month with the people from Northville, and we'll see where we think we might go after that.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so 9E noted then. Okay, so number 10, planning applications. We have quite a few actually. So 10A, 19 High Street. Any comments? Councillor Barrett?
No objection, really.
Okay.
Just propose we have no objection.
Great, okay. Yep, all those in favour? Yeah. Great, okay, that's carried, thank you. 10B, no, also 19 High Street, but a different criteria. Councillor Russell.
I think this is one we have to object to. It's in the conservation area and we've never wanted internally illuminated signs in the conservation area and we don't really want to start now. So I think we need to object to the fact that it's internally illuminated.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so there's a proposer and a seconder for that. All those in favour of that objection? Okay, so that's unanimous, thank you. Okay. 10C, Texaco now BP 173 London Road. I think we all know what that is. Any comments? EV charging, I think. Councillor Russell.
This is okay because it's not in the conservation area.
Yeah. Okay. All those in favour. Yep. Okay. Seconded. Great. Thank you. 10D Broadmead, Biggleswade. It doesn't actually give a house number, which is quite curious. But anyway. Any comments on Broadmead? Councillor Barrett.
I looked at subject to neighbours, really.
Subject to neighbours. Okay. Councillor Albone, did you want to say anything? You're same again. Okay. All those. Yeah. All those in favour. Great. Okay. Thank you. 25 Nursery Close. Comments? Question? Councillor Barrett.
I think we've seen this one before and we didn't have any objection last time.
Okay. I can't remember if we have seen it before, but I'll take your word for that. So subject to neighbours. Everyone in favour of that? Yeah. No comments. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. F1 Poplar Close. Subject to neighbours again. Okay, no objections. Okay, good. G, the Yorkshire Grey on London Road. Any comments on that?
Again,
Councillor
no
Barrett.
objections. It's just to put some lights and things up.
Yeah.
And some timber to support those lights. It makes perfect sense.
Okay, yeah, I know they're doing a refurbishment at the moment as well, aren't they? So, okay, so all those, no objections, all those in favour, great, thank you, no objections. H, land to the rear of 2 and number 8 St Andrews Close. No. Councillor Russell.
This is very much caught into a pint pot. It's a tiny site. It's like a 1-bedroom flat. With just a living room, come kitchen, come dining, and a single bedroom and facilities.
Mm.
I don't think we can object to it, but I think we ought to make a note when we write to Central Beds and say we're rather uncomfortable about overdevelopment for this one.
Okay. All right. All those in favour of taking that approach? Yeah, seconded. And all those in favour of taking approach? Okay, unanimous. Thank you very much. Unit N, A1 Retail Park, London Road. I'm quite sure which, I hadn't checked which shop that is, but it's sorry, it's the. Okay, okay, very good. Okay. Any comments, questions, Councillor Albone?
Yeah, I don't think we should object to this. I think she would welcome a new business coming in. So a lot of it is putting up signage, which is basically replacing what was there before. But there is an additional sign on the wall that faces the road, which so that isn't a replacement for something that was there originally.
Okay.
So that's different. So I don't know how others feel about that. It's a departure from what we've had before.
Okay. All right. Comments, thoughts on that one? I don't know.
So we move no objection, but your attention to that.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. So all in favour? Yeah. Seconder. Yeah. Great. We've got 2 there. Okay. So all those no objection, but draw attention to this additional signage. I think we can do that. Okay. Thank you. It was all, and there was no objections. Jay, Sandy View, 15 Sandy View, Biggleswade. Yeah, Councillor Barrett.
No objection, subject to neighbours. However, I struggle to understand how they would get access to their rear garden, because it looks as if they're filling in the bit down the side of their garage and the house next door.
Right.
To create a bigger sort of workshop, office space. And then they wouldn't be able to access the rear, but I'm not able to see whether they do have a rear gate or something like that. So
okay.
I wonder if we should just say no objections such as neighbours, but however, just note the fact that could Central Beds look at that from an access point of view.
Okay, have we got a seconder for that proposal? Okay, Councillor Russell. Okay, all those in favour of Councillor Barrett's approach there, no objection, but raising those points. Okay, great. Thank you, unanimous. That's great. Thank you very much. 11, planning application outcomes. I think there was a separate report, wasn't there, Peter, that went round as well. Questions, comments, or just, take it as read? Yeah. No. Okay, right, we'll move on. Number 12, accounts. Internal audit final report 2024-25. I'll pass. Is that Ernest or yourself, Peter?
Okay.
Okay, over to Peter then.
Okay. I'm sure members will have had time to read the documentation. I just wanted to remind members that obviously it's consistent with our financial regulations that immediately we receive an internal audit report, it has to go to full council for consideration. This is the final report of the old financial year. I'd just like to thank Ernest and the team because I think it's a very, very good report from the internal auditor. I don't think there's anything further to add connected to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just want to echo, I think the positive report there to the finance team as well, if that can be noted. Thank you. Any questions from colleagues? Councillor Agnew?
It's not the question, it's just I wanted to reiterate the message because at FMGP we quite closely follow the process of preparation for the audit over the year. And to my knowledge, Ernest, I think, submitted about 14 or 15 different folders of information over the time. So I'd like to just tell the colleagues that it has been a grand work and also very tidy work. And we have been noted as an exceptional report. So thank you.
Okay, so we need a vote on that though, Peter, to receive it. Yes. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay, so I need a proposer and a seconder to take that forward, please. Because it does receive and consider. So, Councillor Russell, sorry.
I'd like to propose that we accept the report and congratulate the team.
Okay, the second of Councillor Albone, great. So all those in favour? Thank you. No objections. Great. It's unanimous. Thank you very much. 12B, the annual governance and accountability return. There are two elements to this, a part 1 and part 2. Do you want to cover that, Peter?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's extremely important that members consider these as two separate constituent elements. The first obviously issue to debate is the annual governance return. That's been confirmed as correct again by the internal auditor, so it's a statement of fact, but it's obviously for members to consider the matter. Once members are satisfied with that and taken a vote, then the mayor and myself can sign the first part of that documentation, but they are two distinct separate resolutions. So I'll stop there.
Yeah. Thank you. So any comments, questions on the annual governance statement that's in the pack? No. Councillor Barrett.
Mentioned it briefly that on page 47, it was just a question really why, I don't know whether it was a time related thing, why the petty cash payments were not looked at and not covered.
Shall I respond? No?
Yes, please do, yeah.
We don't have any petty cash in this council.
Okay.
I just thought we had money that came out some.
We used to have petty cash, but we ceased to operate petty cash.
None in 20.
No, zero. No petty cash.
Okay. Good. Okay. All right. If there's, I need a proposer and a seconder for this. If there's no more questions, Councillor Albone.
Can I move it as set out in point 1 on the agenda?
Thank you. Yeah, and a seconder for that, please. Yeah, Councillor Patel. Great. Okay. So all those in favour as set out at number 1 in the paper. Great. Thank you. Unanimous. Thank you. Yeah, and I'll sign this one. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Okay, and then to number 2, it's the members need to approve the accounting statement, section 2 in the annual return. Do you want to say anything on that, Peter, or is it a self-explanatory? Okay. Any questions or comments on that before we move to a vote? No? Oh, yeah, I just need a nominator, yeah, seconder, that's all. Councillor Russell.
I was just going to move that we approve the accounting statement.
Great, and a seconder for that, Councillor Foster, thank you. So we've got pros and seconder. Okay, so all those in favour of approving the accounting statement? Great, thank you, that's unanimous again. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So we're on to 12C, financial administration. Over to you, Ernest. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just before the 12C and under 12B, there was a latest rise of inspection. It's just for members to note anyway. So it's members to know that the electoral rise of inspection of accounts will begin on Monday, 23rd of June 2025, and it will end on 1st of August, just for members' information only. I'll move on to 12C. So 12C, so the usual reports have been uploaded on the website, and this include the income statement, the balance sheet, and the payment listing. So this is just for period 1, and it's difficult to really project the outturn for the end of the financial year in period 1. But officers will continue to keep constant review of the situation. And the recommendation is just for members to approve the April 2025 report, which is Appendix A. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Obviously, there's not a lot because we've only really just started the financial year. So, but thank you for that. Councillor Agnew, do you want to say anything in the absence of the chair of FNGP, or you're okay? You're happy? Yeah. Okay. All right. Can we have a proposer and then a seconder to adopt, I guess, as it's set out? If that's people are happy, yeah. Move it. Okay. Yeah. Proposer, seconder. Great. All those in favour, then, please. Great. Thank you. That's unanimous. Great. Thank you very much. Number 13, items for information. None. So that's good. And then we've got a final public open session. Is there anyone? Well, there's no one turned up. So is anyone online, Asia, at all? No? Okay. Great. Can we have a vote to then move into exempt session, please? Yeah, move into exempt session. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, that now ends the public session.